All right, so now you fellows, the lovely tramp steamer, the H. Phillips, is pulling in to the lovely port city of Esperanza Perdida, the city of lost hope. And as you're disembarking, the two fellows from Nutmeg Imports, bid you farewell. Oh, and then they're like, what's that you fellow? One says, what's that you fellows say? He looks at me at Mallory. Good show there on the deck. I heard you guys really, help mop up those pirates. We would have gone up and helped, but didn't have any guns or anything.
Oh, that's right, the importers. Yeah, their name was Zacharias Foster, and who was the other one?
Yeah, Carl Mueller.
Carl Mueller. Okay.
And both Americans.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Very very American.
How big is this Esperanza Perdida? Is it like a village? Is it like a town? Is it like a city?
It's a fairly bustling port city. I mean, there are like lots of ships being loaded, unloaded. A variety of people. Quite a few of the Portuguese themselves, but a lot of obvious natives, but people from other countries as well. There seems to be quite a few warehouses. It seems to be a pretty thriving port city.
Do we know if there's a local chapter of the Antea Society here?
There is supposed to be a local chapter of the Antea Society. As a matter of fact, there is a fellow there to meet you.
Oh, excellent.
Is he holding a sign?
No, he's not holding a sign, but as you're disembarking, your stuff's being taken off. A fellow does approach you, like they've been waiting for that particular steamer, and there's it's a Frenchman. He introduced himself as Gerard Laframboise of the Antea Society. So, yes, I'm looking for Elian Mallory and company.
Oh yes. You found them.
Oh, excellent. And you have all your things here. We can arrange for your belongings to be brought to the clubhouse.
Ah, splendid.
Temporarily.
Splendid.
How was your voyage?
It was a bit eventful, as a matter of fact.
Eventful? Oh, well, hopefully you have a good story to tell.
Oh, yes, indeed we do. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, we will have to have that over dinner.
Yes.
And in the meantime, Percy is just going along with, you guys as if she belongs, or he belongs. I think it's a very assumptive posture that she's going to go along with you.
I see. I see no harm in it for now, so I will not make a fuss about the situation. Yes. Inquire about tattoo and any bits of pirate lingo.
So,
French guy. Oh, okay. Yes, that's right. Yes. Maybe we could discuss with Mr. Frambois what we have seen upon the pirates, their tattoos, and perhaps the Spanglish that they were speaking. Maybe he might have some insights into it.
Well, as it turns out, he's pretty busy in getting you guys from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
So he's at the moment he seems rather disinclined to talk, but any real details. But he's very very helpful. He seems to be very very involved in getting your stuff off the ship, getting the right porters there. People hustling and bustling. But you go through most of the city itself, or most of the dock area rather, and you come to. It's not an elaborate dwelling, but it's a larger building. It seems to be like part warehouse, and then part. You're not really sure what it had been at some point, but it's elaborate enough that it seems to function as a what's the right word I'm looking for? It's a building that the club would use as like a base of operations. It's not something that headquarters. There you go.
Okay,
we're all there.
Something proper to to run an expedition out of. Or,
right. Okay.
And to bring stuff back, before sending it out elsewhere.
Okay.
So, bids you to come in, get comfortable. There actually are some rooms for you, and after you've washed up, they're planning to have the afternoon meal with you.
Very well, very well. All right.
Indeed. So, Monsieur Laframboise, it seems we must make a report with the local port authority regarding these pirates that we encountered on our voyage here. We were unable to get a name out of them, but the ship captain seemed to indicate that these were some sort of sea cult. They mentioned something relating to worship of the mother, word Kidra or Hydra, which makes no sense to me, but perhaps you might have heard of these pirates. They bore tattoos and some sort of... I put me in mind of language, but it was not a language I could recognize. Does any of these things seem familiar to you?
I've heard of a lot of the pirates that have accosted some of our ships. I've heard something about that. But Archie should be here any minute now. And very, very soon, this kind of portly British fellow walks through the door of the dining room that you're in. And you meet Archibald Palin. He introduced himself as Mr. Palin. He's seems to be a little bit more aloof than the rather gregarious Mr. Laframboise. It's like, Archie, they've been talking about some sort of pirates and with the tattoos. And do you know anything about that? I said, oh, yes. You encountered some of the sea hag worshippers, did you?
No, is that what they are?
No, that's what I call them. People have various names for them. Beastly fellows.
Yes.
What other? Excuse me, and I will introduce myself. But when you say sea hag worshippers, you say among other names. We have heard Kidra, Hydra. What other names have you heard?
Yeah, it's sort of something like that. That name they use occasionally, and they talk about the mother, and so I call it the sea hag. It's just a bunch of superstitious nonsense, but they're rather vicious fellows. Rather vicious. Don't leave a lot of people alive, and sometimes take prisoners.
We were attacked by them, and they fled to the south of our ship's position, which there was no known island in that position. So we were wondering if maybe there was a ship there, or maybe there's an unknown island in that area. And maybe you've heard of maybe rumors of an island in that region.
No, but that would be a smashing expedition if you still find some kind of uncharted island.
I think it'd be very smashing. Yes.
So we are explorers of land and sea, are we not?
Well, that's what I have always said. Yes, indeed.
That we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're a man of my own heart. I sense it. Indeed. Yes.
Oh, that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. Much better than fellow Weatherby. The blasted idiot. The idiotic stuff he was on about.
How so?
And he just starts laughing a little bit. He's a rather eccentric fellow, this Weatherby, some linguist, but he started to send back the most excited transcripts for telegrams to send off, and a great scientific discovery, and all this poppycock. Never really brought back anything that I thought was worthy. I said, well, what? I said one time, he said, well, show me. What do you have? What kind? They say they could only talk about wonders, and you have no idea. And
but no evidence.
All this nonsense. It's kind of a insufferable fellow. And
alas, that is the mission we have been assigned, is to find out the whereabouts of our dear friend Weatherby. So perhaps we can return to the sea hag worshippers at a future time.
That sounds much more exciting and appropriate. But
it does to me too. But
well, has Professor Weatherby come back, or is he still in this Sugera Manon place?
Has he come back? I haven't seen that fellow in a while. We said got some of his telegrams maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, was it, Gerard? And La Framboise. I guess it's been about, I don't know, two months since we've seen him. Last note from him was maybe a month ago. Something like that. Haven't heard from him much since then. But that is where you're supposed to go, isn't it?
That is indeed. How far is this Sugaramanon village?
Oh yes, brown dirt. They have such colorful names for the villages here. You have to forgive the name of
Marron.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had it wrong in my notes. That's why it didn't make any sense.
Sierra Marron, something like
Marron.
that.
Yeah.
Colorful names. These Portuguese really come up with some really good ones. Obviously, this is no lost hope here. This is, I think, the original Portuguese fellow that got assigned here was rather upset with the idea. Something about being separated from his wife and all that sort of thing. But
It might have been it. Yes.
Quite the sense of humor. Yes.
I think he had just been married, young fellow, and had to be here for 5 years.
Yes.
So what's do you have any maps of this Sugera Marron? Is it reachable by trails? Should we prepare an expedition? Give us the lay of the land, if you please.
No, sure, absolutely. In the meantime, like, Archibald is completely disinterested at this point. He's, no longer talking. Is helping himself to as much of the roasted fowl as is there. It is rather hot, just in general. Bordering on beastly hot, but yeah, there are actually some maps. There's, I don't know how good they are, but Gerard pulls down a couple maps, and we have some maps here of the general areas. I think I haven't been there myself. I think it takes about there are trails, so to speak, but it is a bit of an expedition. It will take you some time to get there. It's not the most passable.
How long do you think it will take?
Oh, I suppose about a week, maybe, to get there, give or take. We can arrange for a few porters to bring you there.
That would be splendid. Cord, take a look at this map.
Let's see here. Just start taking a look at the. What does the route look like?
Well, what kind of maps goes there? You got some kind of survival?
Oh yeah. Hell yes.
Oh, the hat's got to go back on.
Yeah, I got a survival skill of 6.
Yeah.
And we all have expedition, right? Or at least expeditions. Logistics, organization, personnel, and terrain.
Yeah. Okay.
So, so I can assist.
I can use navigation via survival, and you can assist with expedition.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You guys don't even need to roll at that point. It would be.
It'd be a survival. 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got how many? Or is
it would
an
be
average of 4?
+2, 8, average 4. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you're fine. Looking over the map, the terrain features and what have you. It's going to be a bit rough. Getting there, but it's probably more in the territory of having some horses. Definitely going to require some porters to bring your stuff there, but it's going to be kind of slow going. It's not that the distance is enormous; it's that the terrain looks a little rough. Talking to La Framboise a little bit. You're going to be going through some areas which are like forested scrub, that sort of thing. It's not completely untraveled.
Is it more hilly or more of a plain forest? Forest on a plain, meaning. Is it like a flat land, or is it like more of a hilly
country?
You're actually going to go through both. You're heading through a lot of flat land, and then you're going to get to like a more of a hilly area by the time you're getting to your destination.
All right. Cool.
But
all right, thanks. Looks like it might be some rough going there, Lieutenant, but I think we can do it.
Of course we can.
You say so. That's good enough for me. Yes.
Of course we can. I have every confidence in everybody in this expedition. It'll be fine. Overconfident trait.
Now we're gonna need to arrange some supplies. Now the question is, are we gonna do we know what we're gonna be bringing back? I'm asking, porters, horses. We need cat. Do we need like wagons?
Well, wait. Now, aren't we just assigned to discover what Weatherby's been up to?
Well, yes, we need to get more details. That's the whole thing. The telegrams have been so vague. I don't think we can accurately prepare for whatever it is found because.
Well, he was asking if Leframbois had any idea.
And he said, I really have no idea. I mean, depending, what the professor himself was saying, he didn't give any specifics, but you might need a freight train, the way he talked. But I don't.
Exactly. We should just travel as lightly as possible to get there as quickly as possible.
Well, it'll be a trade-off. Professor will have to make sure we have enough supplies for our expedition, but we'll definitely take it into consideration. Try to keep it as light as possible. That sounds reasonable.
Yes.
Court.
Right.
So who's got the best expedition skill?
I have 4.
Right?
I have 6.
Ooh.
Hey, show off.
He knows how to organize.
So I can assist with 2 dice, whoever takes it.
Okay, it's not even a roll. I'm just saying, like, how well you guys are really going to prepare for your expedition.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not going to make you roll, but like with an average of 4, you're probably going to prepare pretty well,
Yeah.
I mean, we might need to take supplies to them if they're isolated, and not just assume that they're well supplied when we get there.
Do we know
along the way?
That's a good point the doctor brings up. Do we know size of the party we're going to meet over there?
Yeah. The village itself is actually not small. It's a rather sizable one, but it seems to be kind of like a almost like a way station of civilization, something that the Portuguese have set up. But the professor's party as such seemed to be the professor and whoever he was hiring, because he was going in and according to at least what Leframbois can tell you, and what a little bit that the colonel told you back stateside, he's kind of like living with these people, learning their language, gaining their trust, and
I see.
And Leframbois says, as far as I understand, he was traveling from the Sierra Maram to the actual place where this tribe lived, the Zege tribe lived, and maybe they had a couple guides go with him, but I don't think they stayed.
So he basically went by himself with whoever he hired here.
That would be it. Whoever he hired would have been from the village of Brown Dirt itself, not from here.
Yeah, one of the locals. Yeah.
And he sends messages back this way. Every once in a while, we would see him. He would come back here, but for the most part, he would send back messages. Sometimes he would send back messages to be sent by telegram back to back to Wadsworth to inform of his activities.
So
the only way we
we could assume that he's actually traveling extremely light himself.
Yes, but he seems to be keeping himself quite busy.
Is there any way we can see these messages?
Oh, good point. Yes.
Are these the same messages that were sent to Colonel Wadsworth in Connecticut?
You think so, but yeah, Frambois like happy to show you the paper copies of the messages they have.
It's probably best to take a look at the original messages. Yes, it couldn't hurt.
Okay. We can call it like investigation to get how much information you get out of there.
I got investigation 5. So.
Oh.
I can of course assist.
Frickin' guy. Roll 7 dice for God's sake.
Man who assists. That is me.
2. That sucked.
5 dice?
Yeah.
Oh no! Roll 2 more dice. You got assistance. So.
No, 2 out of 7. That's what I'm saying.
Oh no!
Wow.
It happens. Yeah.
Well, fortunately, his stuff isn't that hard to decipher. A lot of
a black eye. Give me a break.
You could have just taken the average, but I guess but in the meantime, let's see. I want to make this interesting. I want to make this really interesting. So there are a lot of really excited sounding messages. Some of them were more like messages that he sent out in letter form, but he had some kind of drafts of stuff here as well. But a lot of excited telegrams talking about how the tribe, it took a while for the tribe to really accept him, how they were seen to be a rather violent tribe, how the locals really didn't deal with them very much. There was some limited trade they had, but most of the people around here seemed to fear the Zega tribe quite a bit. He talked about some of the members of the tribe actually speak the local language, which I think might be Bantu.
I speak Bantu.
Yeah, okay. But their actual language really difficult to piece together. It was a really kind of enigmatic. Couple excited sounding telegrams saying he's actually managed to start to solve the riddle. You won't believe what it is, but I'll tell you, later when I figure it all out. I don't want to expose anything or get scooped, because this is something amazing. And then there's telegrams that start to talk about an archaeological discovery, something he needs help with, but something that can really just turn science on its head. And very, kind of almost excited pleas for help. And meantime, Percy is kind of looking over your shoulder and like that. And you're not going to believe this. Mm-hmm. I hate it when NPCs steal a spotlight.
Uh-oh. She found something.
She found an investigation of skill of 5, and she rolled.
Oh my God! Look at that.
And she's reading. It's like, man, it sounds like a real passionate guy. And she finally starts pointing some letters. Really sounds like it's coming unhinged right here at the end, doesn't it?
Is he now?
Well, yeah. You see how the way he's writing, is a little bit different.
Oh.
Yeah, even the way he's writing the telegrams, it just seems like it's usually right. See, back here even though he's sending telegrams, he was sending these more almost too many words, like proper sentence, proper English, something I might write for the paper. But see here, now it's just really kind of disjointed, just a little bit. I mean, it looks like a proper telegram now. Stop. Found great thing. Stop. But that's not how this guy writes.
That's quite perceptive, Percy.
That's why you need to bring me along, Allie. I'll tell you, we make a great team.
I'm starting to be convinced.
Right.
Couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Well, that's good work.
What? And she looks and smiles at Cora. Thanks, sugar.
You always get girl.
Well, this is quite curious. It might be the professor hasn't found really as wondrous a discovery as he seems to indicate. I'm troubled by two things. First, the fact that, well, he might not be in the sound state of mind that we would have hoped. But I'm also a bit concerned about this violent tribe, as he describes the locals. Hopefully, I do believe we'll be able to, if they've accepted him, they'll quite easily accept us, but still, might be worth taking proper precautions. Wouldn't you say so, Cord?
Well, we don't know these people. We don't know what it takes for them to accept us. Maybe Monsieur Frambois here can tell us if there's any trade goods that these people favor. We should do something.
Quite. Yes. Yeah, beads and baubles they might find attractive. Perhaps a couple of ukuleles or harmonicas would keep them satisfied. Yes.
Well,
And so, that's a good question, and he's thinks for a second. And I heard that they did some kind of bit of a trade with the local village occasionally. Brought some kind of things they made. I forget exactly what this tribe made, but they seem to like things like tobacco and some coffee and what have you. But yeah, tea. Well, I don't know about tea, but
perhaps
that's more of
perhaps sugar and
maybe a couple
things.
bottles of whiskey might do the trick.
I might have just some cocoa. It always goes down good with these natives. Yes.
Well, hard to acquire foodstuffs is always a good idea.
Yes.
Make a list, Cord. We'll pick some up when we get the rest of the supplies for the expedition. It won't hurt to earn the goodwill of the locals.
Yeah, cocoa, and yeah, absolutely. And they seem to have a particular fondness, apparently, for peanuts.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we can acquire a supply of peanuts to.
They are actually grown here.
No, there you go. Yeah, well, that was
So we can procure.
Able actually to, well, curiously enough, you're able to get a lot of these items from nutmeg imports.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, very well. All right.
I believe those fellows owe us a favor.
And it turns out, if you were just like putting the expedition together, they do in fact agree they owe you a favor. The favor would be, of course, you still have to pay for it, but you do have a bit of an expense account with from the colonel.
Yeah.
So that will cover the cost of your expedition.
Excellent.
Then, yeah.
Hopefully they'll give us a little discount for helping mop those pirates up while they kept their scurvy behinds down below deck.
Well, I don't know. Does anybody want to negotiate a discount before we?
No.
Diplomatically.
You know what? I could, but I don't think he would. Right? It's like it's a businessman. They're making. If the price seems reasonable, then at least
Right.
we can.
Well, I mean, is it our money?
It's not.
No.
So even
No.
yeah. But
And
we're also
what are the empathy scores of the group?
we're also making some rapport, right, with them. So
Look at me.
I have a 6 for empathy.
6 for empathy. Yeah. What about anybody else have an empathy score of note?
I have 4.
4.
But it's a skill, right? It's
a skill.
no, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Reading
Yeah,
other
but
people.
critical oath, don't allow me to have empathy.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. If the Julius Sumner Miller just gets the feeling, when you deal with these two fellows back at Nutmeg Imports, once again, and they're not running the place. It looks like there's some kind of auditors or people that as they've explained a little bit, they work or represent some of the investors back in Connecticut. Oddly enough, Nutmeg Imports is a Connecticut company that's based here. But they're up to something. You can't tell what. They're nice fellows. They clearly are doing like a legitimate business here. Because obviously the warehouse is full of stuff, but there's something
Little agenda.
about these fellows that just seems like something's odd.
Okay.
Or that they almost seem a little preoccupied or nervous or something. It's hard to say, but it's a little odd.
Yes. I will pass on my concerns to my companions. Perhaps, yes, there's something simmering below the surface with these gentlemen. Some concern that they may have that vexes them. We might want to keep our eyes open for this.
Well, fortunately, we can...
Is it us making them nervous, Doc?
No, I think there's another matter afoot here that is on their minds. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think we should just keep ourselves aware, keep our eyes open, our nose to the grindstones, our ears to the ground.
Anything else you want to do with your sense of taste, or?
So at some point, during the follow, I'm guessing it takes like a couple of days to get this expedition together, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, when Ian gets a moment alone, he goes to Percy and says, "So Percy, you're a reporter. You must have done some research. Are you familiar with these gentlemen from the Nutmeg Imports? Anything you've learned about them? Why are they here?"
Oh, shoot, I don't know. They seem kind of boring to me. It just seems like businessmen, right? I mean,
well,
why do you think they're up to something, or something's interesting?
There seems to be something off with them. I don't know. Like they're not here really to import anything or trade anything, really. They curiously, they seem to have these peanuts, and the people at Sugera Marron seem to like those. Makes me suspicious. Have they perhaps heard something regarding Professor Weatherby's discoveries? Are they there for that?
I don't know. That sounds kind of interesting. I can...
Some sort of rival to our interests? I have no idea. I thought you might have done some research on them, seeing as how they were in the same boat as we.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen that, but that's an interesting thing to think about there. Yeah. And she just kind of, okay.
I'm going to give myself some style for having just spilled my guts to the reporter, because absolutely. I gossip, right? So it's my...
No, that's, definitely call out, because
I mean, perhaps the society headquarters had some kind of information about the Nutmeg traders.
Yeah, if you ask, like, a doctor asking that, the Archie just looks at you like you have two heads.
Okay.
Like, why would you even care about that kind of thing? So Archie is kind of like, he's not a terribly helpful guy, and pretty aloof. In the meantime, Monsignor Laframboise, I believe that's what Cord called him.
Monsieur, not Monsignor. Monsignor, he would be like,
Monsieur, yeah. There you go. He just, he said, they're quite, we use them all the time. They're quite run a brisk business. One of the only American concerns here. But they import. Gosh, I know palm oil, peanut oil, wax, timber. What kind of oils? Timber, some ivory from elephants there.
They're legitimate. They're not working counter to our presence here.
I don't imagine they'd be part of a rival league, a geographic society or something like that.
I was just wondering. Just wanted to know. We're dealing with them. Want them to be on the up and up.
So, the morning that the expedition is to leave, Percy is missing.
Oh.
What?
What in tarnation?
Wait, was she in a tent?
No, she
No,
was.
Like
no,
where were we staying?
Oh,
I
you're
think she
saying
was
like in this building
In the
itself.
building,
It does have
yeah.
homes and everything like that.
Yeah, are there signs that she had been sleeping in her bed, or are there signs of struggle?
Is the
Like,
is the
stuff isn't
room
there?
is the room
Where's it
made
going?
up, right? Like, are her belongings gone as well, or?
Things are all packed. It looks like she was ready to leave.
She's just
Her
not
bed, her
there.
bed's made.
That's
But there are
curious.
also pajamas laid out.
Oh,
Like,
so like she didn't
And-
even spend the night.
no.
Well, now, that is worrisome. I go
Is
over
there anyone
to.
else missing in there?
Not that you can tell. No.
Okay.
I go over to speak to Monsieur La Framboise.
and does the door look like it might have been forced? Or a window?
No.
Okay.
Between all of your various skills and perceptions, I mean, it's pretty easy to spot that nothing looks
No,
like it was forced.
so
No,
perhaps she never returned from her last. She set her bedclothes out for the evening,
Yes.
and either somebody came to the door and convinced her to leave, or she went out and never came back.
If there's a doorman or a night watchman or somebody who may have seen something, we need to talk with them.
And I'll ask Monsieur La Framboise if if he has any idea where she might have gone. Did she say anything to him, or were any messages delivered in her name or something like that?
Well, so let me ask him. He starts pulling the servants and a couple of the other junior members, and finally one fellow goes, "Oh yes, after dinner last night, and dinner was rather early, 5 o'clock. She said she was going out to. She said, what was that word she used? A colloquialism, rustle something up.
Oh, I see.
Hmm.
She's gone off. She is a reporter, so it makes sense. She comes and goes.
Wouldn't make sense for her to miss this trip, right?
It does not. Something seems to definitely be amiss. I say we should go looking for her.
Yeah, so she's been
Indeed.
gone since an early lunch.
Any of you all have any idea what the lady was interested in other than this expedition? She didn't talk about anything else to me.
Had she expressed any interest to us about nutmeg imports?
Perhaps I may have sparked some curiosity on her part regarding the import.
Now, how may you have
Yes.
done that?
Well, I figured she was a reporter, so she might have done some research on nutmeg, and turns out she hadn't done any research, and so she seemed quite interested in the matter once I brought it to her attention. She might have gone.
So it's safe to assume then that maybe she went to investigate a little further into this.
It seems
Perhaps we
likely.
should follow suit and go to the offices of Nutmeg Imports to see if they have seen her recently.
That seems reasonable. Any other ideas?
I think that's the best we got.
Well, then I say we should pay a visit to Nutmeg Imports then. Is there a headquarters here in the city, Mr. Framboise, Monsieur Framboise? Have you figured out? Do they have a warehouse in the city or some offices to conduct their
They have
trade?
a warehouse. They have a warehouse, large warehouse complex, and some offices right down near the port. I mean, that's where they do most of their business.
Yes.
Fairly easy to get to. And it sketches you out a bit of directions, and you really think your friend might be there?
No.
Well, we never know. Have we procured our cargo of peanuts that we are planning to take?
I'm sorry, Mallory, but at this time we cannot be concerned about peanuts.
No, I'm saying that they were going to.
We must discover where our dear friend Percy has wound up.
I just think he means to use the peanuts as an excuse to hornswaggle those tin horns.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Dear sir.
As a matter of fact, the peanuts and some of the other goods that you guys are supposed to be getting, it's arranged that these are going to be picked up in about half an hour from now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Excellent opportunity. We'll just go over and with the pretense of picking up the peanuts, and we'll have to see what they know.
We'll call this like a burning wheel powered by the apocalypse moment. Normally we've already had them, but that's a good view. But for the story,
yeah.
God, don't let Anthony know. But for the that makes good sense. Yeah.
Excellent.
But remember that she goes under the guise of a young male.
Yes.
So we're requiring to stick with that story.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
so
we will.
What are you fellows trying to do?
Well, we're just gonna have a conversation with him.
Yeah,
He does as he checks the loads on the hog wagon.
So Ian's plan is to go over there and ask if they've seen Percy under the ruse that Percy was supposed to pick up the peanuts, right? And I'm thinking of just trying to gauge, whoever it is that deals with that, the reactions. Try to get a sense of, are they lying? Have they seen her? Have they not? But I would also suggest that perhaps Cord might take a surreptitious look around, right? Maybe like stealthily try and sneak into the warehouse or something and have a look.
Okay, that's
a suggestion. That's like a plan. I don't know that we need to hammer out.
I'll go to the harbor master and see the comings and goings of the ships and if anybody's got on or off.
Okay. So is the doctor going to be doing that separately?
No, I'll let the guys know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we can all go together. I'm just saying that's the outline of a plan that I'm thinking. And the only guy with stealth, I think, is Cord, right? So if anybody's going to be doing some snooping around, it might be Cord, and the rest of us could go and talk our way in. Okay. I don't know. I mean, that's or we could all go talk, or what,
No, that sounds good. That sounds good. So Cord's going to kind of like have a look around the place while you're kind of distracting him, running interference, seeing what's going on. Okay,
exactly.
So at the place itself, the fellow that you're actually talking to is, hold on, let me just make sure I get his name right. You're actually calling talking to Carl Mueller, who is obviously he's the guy that's more gregarious of the two. So Zechariah Foster was a little more prickly.
Snooty.
Not a bad guy, but just kind of like he during the card game, you seemed him to have a bit of a temper. Like every time he started to lose a little bit, he got a little bit upset, and then whereas Mueller on the other hand seems to be pretty cool, cool as a cucumber, rather friendly fellow.
Can you say that again? Can you just say again what Zacharias, what's his last name was?
Foster.
Fulton? Foster. Thank you. Okay.
Australian for beer.
Australian for beer, exactly.
Yeah, so Carl and Zach, but exactly. So Mueller and Foster. So, what exactly are you asking, Mr. Mueller?
So I will say, good morning, Mr. Mueller. I was wondering, have you seen our traveling companion, Mr. Swanson? He was supposed to pick up the peanuts, and we haven't seen him. Has he picked up the merchandise yet?
And Well, he says, well, I mean, I can see now you have all the wagons. I mean, you're here to pick it up, but it does. What Swanson?
It's a huge amount. It's not a smaller amount. I thought
no. Well, I mean, yeah, it's enough that you guys are bringing like a. I imagine you're bringing like a certain amount, larger amount, not like giant amounts, but
So I'll rephrase that so it makes sense, right? I will say, have you seen Percy? He left early.
I gotcha.
He said he was going to be here early to inspect the peanuts before we picked them up and make the final arrangements or something like that.
Percy,
right?
was that was that your friend? I haven't seen
Slim fellow. You've seen him, yeah.
Oh, maybe. And let's see, who's got empathy?
I do. I'm trying. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to perceive.
I have. Yep. I have 6 of them.
If he's lying or what's going on.
Right. Okay.
Body language, intuition, stuff like that, right?
No, it's not. I mean, this is a difficulty too. You can just take that. But it's clearly lying. There's something. He's very nervous. There's another fellow. They're it looks like one of the employees, and they look, definitely a little bit. You can tell there's sort of like a little twitchy. It's like something's up. In the meantime, what's Cord up to?
All right. Well, these guys start talking. Cord moves around, saunters around, smoking a cigarette. He rolled himself around the back of the yard, right?
Right.
Looking for a place where maybe he can sneak into the property without being seen. That's what he's looking for.
Okay. And what's your stealth score?
4.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Their vigilance, is not vigilance. What's the word I'm looking for? Their perception. Perception is 4 as well. So you really have to beat their perception. So you need to roll at least a 3.
Okay.
This might be, a time for style.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. And actually, we're gonna have to probably use a significant amount of style. So I'm gonna use 2 style points just to make sure. And basically, so for a brief description, so to earn the use of the style points, so obviously he's not wearing his buckskins because it's hot as hell here. So he's in a loose cotton shirt with the suspenders, and because they were setting out, he's wearing his chaps over the because that's what you wear in the brush. So he's probably kind of with the hog leg and the big Bowie knife. He's kind of a picturesque figure. So what he's gonna do is, he's gonna give some coins to some urchins and tell them to pretend to fight close to where the closest watchmen are.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. You get 1 style back. You don't even need to roll. That earns that earns getting in right there. You get 1 style. You get 1 style point back because that's pretty awesome. So as the urchins start to fight, a couple of the fellows, go to check that out. And a couple of them are laughing and pointing, and another one's trying to break them up. And you're able to sneak in to the back relatively easily.
Awesome.
And there's a hallway. There's various rooms back there. But trying one of the doors, you come upon Percy tied to a chair with a gag on. And she looks up to you, goes,
Now quiet. Well, just be quiet. So it starts, I guess he approaches carefully, making sure there's nobody in the room with her before entering. And then we'll try to cut her loose with the Bowie knife.
Okay. The ropes, are not, they're not that great. They're not expert knots. Doesn't look like somebody that's used to tying people up has tied her up. And she getting off and she's pulling the gag down. It's like, you won't believe what's going on over here. But I just found out something, and then next thing you know, a couple fellows found me, And
Quiet. You can tell me out once we're out of here.
all right. How are we gonna get out?
Come on, follow me. So try to sneak out.
Try to sneak out. Okay. What is her stealth score? She's excited. She doesn't really have one.
2.
Knock her out over the shoulder.
Unless proven otherwise, I'm betting it's a 2.
But she's got dexterity of 3, so she gets to roll one.
Yes.
All right.
Excellent.
And she's got style. You know. I'll tell you what. Somebody can roll 4, so you can roll 3 dice. All you got to do is roll 3 successes.
Oh. Simple.
Oh, but wait. And Cord's gonna assist her.
All right. Nice.
Right. Okay. So as you roll 5 dice, just roll 3 successes for Percy.
That's
Who
not
wants to do that?
bad. That's not.
Yeah, who
No,
wants to do
Cord.
that?
Cord should do it.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah.
Mother. What?
Exactly.
All right. And we got 3?
Nice.
3 and
Wow.
3 on the dot.
Wow.
2?
Amazing. You're able to sneak her out of there. You know. And a couple times you almost start talking. And
The assistant is improved her channel.
yeah.
Exactly. That's the assist.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, put your hand over her mouth.
Yeah. Hush. All righty then. So as soon as they're out, he'd start rolling another cigarette and say, let's meet. So I'm guessing that we'd have arranged to meet back at the caravan, right? He wouldn't bring Percy back,
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So they'll
Maybe.
try and make it back to the to the anti-society facility, and they try to stick to back roads as much as they can. So because these guys might have spies or something.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we try to procure the peanuts, and when we have the cargo, then just go back to our meeting place to see what Cord has found out. Right? I think that would be probably the procedure.
And it is.
I'm sure that she tells Cord once they're out of earshot of
Oh,
what
yeah.
they escape.
She
But
starts babbling.
you only have to say it once. So.
Yeah, she starts babbling crazy, talking about the fact that you wouldn't believe these guys got all this stuff here, but they're also got real suspicious and secret. There's a whole bag of diamonds. It looks like one real great big one.
Diamonds.
And I don't know, but I think that might have been the diamond that got stolen in South Africa just like last month.
Okay, wait. Have we heard about this before?
The Mackenzie diamond was all over the papers. One of the biggest diamonds ever found down there.
Are there diamond mines here in Angola?
No,
Or,
not real. As far as I know, there's not real South Africa seems to be the place where a lot of them are.
So looks like our peanut selling friends are a bunch of no good smugglers. That's what it's looking like.
Oh, Victor broke away and went to the harbor master while
Oh, that's right.
the professor was in there. He was obviously sneaking her out, but I go up to him. Let's see. Good day, my Victor Wald. Victor Wald.
Yes.
To the harbor. Okay. You haven't seen one of my traveling companions, have you? It's a short fella, Mr. Peanut, Mr. Percy.
Peanut.
You come here to inquire about the peanuts. You by chance seen him?
No, not at all.
Top hat.
I wouldn't know, Mr. Percy Peanut.
Okay.
the peanut Swansons of Connecticut. Yes.
As compared to the chicken Swansons of Texas.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have a good day, then. And then I open the door and walk out and walk over the side. Make my way back.
Yeah, but nothing. There's definitely unusual to harbor masters seeing. When it wouldn't even like know who the heck your friend was to begin with, but like anything discussed about like the not big imports. There's nothing unusual going on with them either.
Okay.
But I think we could probably call it here because it is getting late.
Yeah, I was going to say we should start winding it down.
Okay.
It was I completely thought by this time you guys would be in the bush, on your way to the and it was hysterical. Just the fact that Ian mentioned to Percy. About that, and Percy is pretty much based off of the reporter in Howard's expedition.
Nice.
Yeah.
Except she's curious, but I also made her a danger magnet.
Nice.
So if she goes someplace, it's like impossible for her not to get caught.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like I just
Nice.
had her go snooping to find out what was going on at the place, and there's nothing to do except like she gets caught.
Yeah, but,
Right.
It's clearly not gonna hinder Ian in any way from sharing gossip with her. So
that was an entirely unforeseen thing. I mean, there's the diamond part was actually that wasn't something I made up tonight. That was something
I bet. I was thinking he's done his research.
Maybe these guys might find that out someday. Maybe they won't. It's just something that
Nice.
But I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Everything dovetailed. It went like from Ian's gossip weakness to her curiosity weakness and danger magnet to Cord's loyal, stubborn, leave no man behind.
Right.
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah. Somebody's got to start keeping track of how many times Cord has saved this woman's bacon.
Excellent. Well,
On the back.
yeah, this was fun, guys.
Yeah, well,
I was looking so much forward to continuing this game. It was great.
Me too.
Thanks to Draven and all. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I thought there was gonna be a little bit more not adventure, but action.
That's okay.
Oh,
it was
fine.
I think we're all kind of mellow and I enjoyed the interplay with everybody.
Yeah.
But
and there was a lot of atmosphere, which is great. I love the setting of leagues is really cool too.
It is,
It's
yeah.
the Victorian
The
thing. It's really cool. Yeah.
The biggest issue I had was like it's been so long since I've really lived with these NPCs. I had to kind of remember who the hell they were again. So it took a while to get the stride of everything. Not just the names, but like what their gig was. Once it got going.
But it felt very atmospheric. I'm happy with the session.
yeah, I think give everybody a chance to get in the character a little bit more.
Yeah.
Understand each other's character.
Yeah.
And we'll get back in the more regular playing
Yeah,
out.
but I was just like watching, like between the wanting to look for a mysterious island and now Percy getting wrapped up in this imports place. I'm thinking, well, in the meantime, Professor Weatherby dies of old age out in the field.
There's always a danger of that. Yes.
No matter which way you guys go, there will be stuff happening.
There will be adventure, which is awesome. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording here.
Right on.
All right.